Stop everything you're doing. Turn off your notifications. Get the kids out of the room. Take a deep breath. And look inside your financial life right now, not the life you post on Instagram to impress people you don't even like. The real life. The one that stares back at you when you open your banking app at 3 in the morning, wide awake with your heart racing. I have a number for you. A number that should make your blood run cold and your stomach churn. $8,000. Not 80,000. Not 800,000. 8,000. If you have $8,001 sitting in your checking or savings account today, liquid, available for immediate withdrawal, congratulations. You are statistically wealthier than half of the United States of America. Let that sink into your brain for a second. Let the gravity of that information crush your sense of normalcy. We are talking about the greatest economic powerhouse in human history, the empire of capital, the land where money supposedly grows on trees and where the American dream is meant to be the rule. And yet, 50% of every family from New York to California doesn't have $8,000 to their name. And yet, you turn on the TV, open the news sites, and what do you see? Non-stop state propaganda. The news of hope. They tell you, with white smiles and expensive suits, that the economy is robust, that we're living in a golden age. They scream that the stock market hit all-time highs in 2025. They celebrate that unemployment is at historic lows. They swear inflation has cooled and the worst is behind us. They insist the American consumer remains strong and resilient. They're popping champagne on Wall Street. CEOs are taking home million-dollar bonuses. Politicians are patting each other on the back at gala dinners. But then, answer me this, and be brutally honest. Why do you feel like you're drowning? Why, when you go to the grocery store and fill just 2 bags with the basics, does the total at the register feel like a punch to the gut that leaves you breathless? Why does your salary, which felt decent and secure 3 or 4 years ago, now evaporate before the 15th like water thrown on hot desert asphalt? Why do you feel that lump in your throat, that tightness in your chest, every time the phone rings and it's an unknown number, terrified it's a collector or bad news that will topple your house of cards? You aren't crazy. I need you to understand this so we can start fixing the problem. You aren't paranoid. You aren't being negative. You're simply living in the split-screen economy. It's a collective financial schizophrenia. On one side of the screen, the asset owners, the shareholders, the politicians, the heirs. For them, the chart goes up, the dividends roll in, and life is a party of perpetual growth and compound interest working in their favor. On the other side of the screen is you, me, the working class, the middle class. For us, this is a war zone. It's a trench where the mud is rising, the rain won't stop, and the ammo is running out. I'm Buck, and I'm not here to pat you on the back and tell you everything will be okay if you just think positive. I've spent the last few months digging through the trash of Federal Reserve data. I've dived into the consumer reports they bury in the footnotes because they don't want you to read them and panic. I've dissected the corpse of the American middle class with a sharp scalpel, and what I found isn't just worrying, it's catastrophic. It's a scenario of programmed financial extermination. Today, I'm not giving you cute home economics tips. I'm not going to teach you how to save on lattes or reuse coffee filters. Today, we are performing a full autopsy of the average American in 2026. I'm going to show you the real, brutal, bloody numbers that the media purposely ignores. And most importantly, I'm going to show you why being normal today is a diagnosis of terminal bankruptcy. If your goal is to be average, if your goal is to keep up with the Joneses, you are signing your own financial death warrant. The herd is walking happily to the slaughterhouse, and my job today is to pull you out of the line before the hammer falls. The class on your survival starts now. The first data point that blew up in my face, the one that dismantles the strong economy narrative, was this: 67%. 2/3 of the American population is living paycheck to paycheck. Now stop. I know what you're thinking. Your biased mind has already created a stereotypical image. You're thinking of the student working fast food. You're thinking of the unskilled laborer. You think it's sad. But it's a minimum wage problem. Wrong, lie, fatal mistake. That 67% includes lawyers. It includes software engineers. It includes doctors early in their careers. It includes corporate project managers. We are talking about people earning six figures, $100,000, $120,000, $150,000 a year. These people live in the gated communities you admire when you drive by. They drive the silver German SUVs you want in your garage. They post photos of European vacations and dinners with expensive wines on Instagram. They look rich. They smell like success. Their skin glows. But financially, on the inside, they are walking corpses. They are credit zombies. The money hits the account on the first and disappears instantly. It already has an owner before it's even deposited. It's sucked up by a monstrous mortgage that consumes 40% of their net income. It's drained by 2 luxury car payments just to keep up appearances at the office. It's devoured by private school tuitions that have increased 30% in 3 years. By the 28th, the balance is zero. Or worse, they're using their overdraft to buy gas and praying the card clears. They are running on a gold-plated treadmill studded with diamonds, but the speed is increasing every month and their legs are failing. One misstep, a layoff, an unexpected illness, a messy divorce, and they are thrown against the wall with violence. This isn't just a money management problem or a lack of financial education. This is a structural trap. The system has been redesigned piece by piece to extract every cent of surplus you produce. Back in your grandparents' day, the structure was built to allow for a surplus if you worked hard. The system had slack. Today, the system of prices, interest, insurance, taxes, and subscriptions has been millimetrically calibrated by algorithms to ensure nothing is left over. Market efficiency is now the efficiency of emptying your pockets and transferring your lifetime to a corporation's balance sheet. But it gets worse. It gets much darker when we look at basic security. 24% of Americans, 1 in 4 people you pass on the street, have zero emergency savings. Nothing. Not a cent. Not even a lost coin in the sofa cushions. They are walking a tightrope over a tank of hungry sharks, without a net, blindfolded and hands tied. If the car breaks down, existential crisis. They can't get to work, they lose the job, they lose the house. If their kid falls and breaks an arm, a financial disaster that will take years to pay off and destroy the family's credit. If the water heater explodes in winter, total ruin, cold, and despair. These people aren't reckless by nature. They aren't stupid. They are being crushed by an invisible hydraulic press. They don't save because they have nothing to save. The math of basic survival, shelter, food, energy, has consumed it all. And meanwhile, 54% of families have no dedicated retirement savings. None. Zero. They aren't planning for the future because they're too busy trying not to die of hunger and anxiety in the present. The future is a luxury they can't afford. They live in an eternal now, where the only goal is surviving until next Friday. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The one that enters your house every day and steals food from your fridge without you seeing, inflation. You hear the suited economists on TV with their colorful charts and technical jargon saying inflation has dropped, the worst is over, and we'll have a soft landing. This is financial gaslighting. It's psychological manipulation on an industrial scale. They are trying to convince you that what you see with your own eyes and feel in your wallet isn't real. Yes, the rate of increase has slowed. The speed at which the car is heading toward the cliff has slowed from 120 miles per hour to 60 miles per hour. But you're still heading for the cliff. They don't tell you about the cumulative damage. The damage is permanent. The prices of essential goods and services are, on average, 25% higher today than they were in 2020. A quarter more on everything. Food, insurance, rent, energy, medicine. Now I ask you, did you get a 25% real salary increase in the last 4 years just to break even on purchasing power? I doubt it. If you were lucky, if you were an exemplary employee who never missed a day, maybe you got 10%, maybe 12%. What does this mean in practice? It means there's a hole in your pocket. a hole you didn't create, but that you're paying for every day. The gap between the cost of existing and the value of your labor has become a chasm, and no one is building a bridge for you to cross. You're being forced to jump and hope you make it to the other side. This is why polls show that 32% of Americans expect their finances to worsen in 2026. It's the highest level of pessimism recorded since 2018. People smell the smoke. The government papers say everything is fine, but the people's gut says the danger is real. The survival instinct is screaming, and guess what? The instinct is right. Americans were asked a simple question. How much money do you need to have accumulated to feel rich in 2026? The average answer was staggering, $2.5 million. Understand, they didn't say that so they could buy a Caribbean island or a private jet. They said that just to feel safe, to stop having heart palpitations when they open the mailbox, to be able to sleep at night without prescription meds. Wealth today isn't about luxury and showing off. It's about the silence of anxiety. And for retirement, people say they need $1.26 million, $1,200,000. Sear that number into your brain because now I'm going to show you how much people actually have. And I warn you, if you have a weak stomach, if you prefer to live in ignorance, skip this part. Because the following numbers are documented, irrefutable proof of the failure of the American dream. The average statistic is a lie. It's a veil used to hide the poverty of the majority. If Elon Musk walks into a bar where everyone else is broke, on average, everyone in that bar is a billionaire. Averages distort reality and protect the system. We need to look at the median, the exact middle point. Half the people are above it, half are below. The raw, naked reality of the street. Let's break it down by age. And I want you to see, with brutal honesty, where you fit into this hierarchy of pain. Gen Z, under 25. The median retirement savings is $2,800. That buys a gaming laptop and a new phone. That isn't net worth, that's lunch money. They are starting adult life already in a hole. They look at house prices, they look at stagnant wages, and they think, why even try? I'll never have that. And they give up before they start. Financial nihilism is the new religion of this generation, and who can blame them? Young adults, 25 to 34. The median is $15,000. You've worked for 10 years. You graduated, did internships, endured bad bosses, worked overtime. And all you have to show for a decade of effort is the price of a 10-year-old used economy car? $15,000 doesn't even cover the down payment for a house in a neighborhood where you don't risk getting shot on the corner. It's a lost decade, evaporated in the bonfire of inflation. The critical zone, 35 to 44. The peak of the illusion. The median is $35,500. This is where the midlife crisis hits full force. You're 40 years old. You should be at the peak of your productive and accumulating capacity, and you have $35,000 saved. If you have $40,000 in your account today, do you feel poor? Do you look at Instagram and feel like a failure? Surprise. You are doing better than half the country. You are the elite of mediocrity. That is how low the bar has fallen. Normal has become pathetic. Gen X, 45 to 54. The real danger zone. The median is $61,500. These people are 15 years away from stopping work. Their bodies are starting to ache. The job market is starting to discriminate against them for their age, swapping them for cheaper youth. And they have $60,000. That pays for maybe a year and a half of frugal living. And then, what happens then? The abyss, dependency, humiliation, the exit generation, 55 to 64, the generation at the exit door of the labor market, the generation that should be planning trips, cruises, and gifts for the grandkids. The median is $87,500. This is a crime. This is a moral scandal. An entire lifetime of work. 40 years of the alarm clock going off at 6 a.m. 40 years of swallowing your pride. 40 years of hellish traffic. 40 years of yes, sir, only to reach the end of the line with $87,000. Let's do the retirement math on that amount, just so you can see the horror movie these people's lives will become. The safe withdrawal rule is 4% per year so the money doesn't run out before you die. 4% of $88,000 is $3,500 a year. Divide that by 12. That's $291 a month. 291. You can't pay the electric, water, and internet bills with that. What are you going to eat? Cat food. Where are you going to live? Under a bridge? You might say, "Oh, Buck, but there's Social Security. The government will take care of me." Okay, trust the government. The average Social Security check is $1,900. Add that to your $290. That's $2,200 a month. To live, to pay for meds that get more expensive every year, to pay rent because many haven't paid off their homes or lost them along the way. That isn't retirement. That is survival-level misery. It is the end of human dignity. It is counting pennies to buy bread at 75 years old while watching commercials for trips you will never take. But the lack of savings is only half of the horror story. The other half is the lead anchor dragging everyone to the bottom of the sea. Debt. Look at the millennials. The average debt is $132,000. They have giant mortgages on overpriced houses, student loans that act like reverse compound interest, and maxed out credit cards to maintain an instant gratification lifestyle. They are the debt generation. They were taught that credit is good, that you need to build your score. And now they are paying the price with their own freedom. But the world champions of tragedy are Gen X. The average debt is $158,000. They are the sandwich generation. And they are being eaten alive. They are paying for college for kids who can't find jobs, and for nursing homes for elderly parents who saved nothing at the same time. They are being squeezed from both ends. The financial stress of this generation is something we've never seen in the history of medicine. They are having heart attacks and strokes at 50, not because of cholesterol, but because the cortisol in their blood is pure financial poison. They know the math doesn't add up, and the panic is constant, day and night. And the credit card? The weapon of mass destruction for personal finance. The average balance for those carrying debt is $7,000. But the data point that made me want to punch a wall, the one that proves the system is predatory, was this. 46% of credit card holders do not pay their full balance every month. Nearly half the country is voluntarily paying 22%, 25%, 30% interest per year. This isn't debt. Let's call it by its real name. An ignorance tax, a desperation tax. If you owe $7,000 at 22% and pay only the bank's minimum suggested, it will take you 8 years to pay it off. And you will pay over $6,000 in interest alone. You bought a pizza and a pair of sneakers 6 months ago, and you're still paying interest on the cheese and the rubber. Do you understand the madness of this? The banks love you. They designed the app, the rewards, the miles, all so you slide, forget, and pay interest forever. They don't want you to pay off the debt. They want you to serve the debt. You are the bank's employee of the month. You work overtime to send the profit straight to Wall Street bankers, and they don't even send you a Christmas card. Now, let's talk behavior. What are people doing in the face of this apocalyptic scenario? Are they reacting? Are they cutting costs? No. They've stopped saving. The personal savings rate in the U.S. has dropped to a ridiculous 3.5%. The historical average was 8% or 9%. Experts, myself included, say you need 20% to be sovereign. We are at 3.5%. Out of every dollar you earn with the sweat of your brow, you keep 3.5 cents. The rest, 96.5 cents, burned, evaporated, transferred to the system. This isn't laziness. Don't you dare call it laziness. This is asphyxiation. When rent goes up 30% in 3 years, when car insurance doubles for no reason other than parts got more expensive, when food goes up 25%, you don't have a choice. You stop investing in the future so you can eat today. It's survival mode turned up to the max. You're plugging holes in the Titanic's hull with bubble gum while the orchestra keeps playing on TV. And housing, the great American dream, it turned into the great American nightmare. If you pay rent, you are in hell. Half of renters reported real difficulty paying rent in 2025. It's not just being tight and cutting out pizza. It's not knowing if you'll have a roof next month. It's the real fear of eviction. The median rent hit $2,000. If you earn the median income of $75,000 a year, that means 32% of your gross income goes down the drain before taxes. Before eating, before clothing, before living, 1/3 of your life effort has already been confiscated by the landlord. You work 4 months of the year just for the right to sleep under a roof that isn't yours. And the homeowners? Are they better off? They are stuck in a golden cage. They bought or refinanced at 3% interest in 2020. They feel like geniuses. Their equity went up on paper. They say, "Oh, look, Buck, my house is worth $200,000 more than I paid." Congratulations. Try going to the supermarket and paying the bill with a brick from your wall. Try paying the electric bill with the appreciation of your living room. You can't. You're rich on paper and poor in cash flow. Home insurance has doubled. Property taxes skyrocketed because the home's value increased. Maintenance costs triple, and you can't sell. Because if you sell, you'll have to finance another house at 7% interest. Your monthly payment would triple, so you are stuck, immobile, static. Social mobility died because physical mobility died. You are a prisoner of your own interest rate. I spoke at the beginning about the split-screen economy, and now you understand. If you have assets, stocks, real estate bought before 2020, or Bitcoin, the year 2025 was great for you. Your chart went up. You're clapping. The inflationary system worked in your favor. If you live on a salary, trading time for money, and have no assets, you're being shredded. You're being ground down. The system isn't broken. Get that idea out of your head. The system is working exactly as it was designed. It was designed to transfer wealth from those who work to those who own, from those who owe to those who lend, from those who rent to those who collect, from those who save in fiat currency to those who invest in real assets. If you earn well but spend everything to look rich, you are on the losing side. You are a luxury slave. You have golden handcuffs, but they are still handcuffs. If you earn little but have Spartan discipline and buy assets, you're building your escape route. These numbers I showed you, these ridiculous medians of 40,000, 60,000, 80,000, they are not goals. They are biohazard warnings. They are air raid sirens. If you're 45 and have 50,000 saved, do not comfort yourself by saying you're average and things aren't that bad. The average is sick. The average is walking toward an old age of misery, dependency, and humiliation. Do you want to be normal? Being normal in 2026 means working until you die at a grocery store checkout or depending on the charity of children who will also be broke. Okay, Buck, the scenario is a nightmare. The system is corrupt. The math is rigged against me. What do I do? Sit on the floor in a fetal position and cry? No. You get up, dust yourself off, and go to war. You can't fix the American economy. You aren't the chairman of the Fed. You can't lower interest rates with a pen. You can't make the price of beef drop. Stop wasting your mental energy complaining about the government, the politicians, or the system. They don't care about you. They never did. You are just a social security number to them. You only have control over one single variable in all this chaos, the margin. The difference between what enters your pocket and what leaves it. I know, I just said the margin was destroyed by inflation. So you have to be radical. You have to be a financial extremist. You have to be an insurgent in your own life. Step 1. Reject the average with violence. Your friends are financing new cars? Let them. They're shackling themselves. Your neighbors are going to Disney on 24-month installments? Let them. They're burning the future. Look at the average and run in the opposite direction. If the majority is doing it, statistically, it's financial suicide. Take pride in being the weirdo who doesn't consume. Step 2. Attack toxic debt like it's cancer. If you have a credit card balance at 22%, you are in a medical emergency. Blood is spurting. Sell things. Sell the gaming console. Sell the brand name clothes. Drive Uber on the weekends. Eat rice and beans for 6 months. Kill that debt as if it were a parasite sucking your vital energy. Because it is. You cannot invest while bleeding 22% to the bank. Step 3. Build the fortress of liquidity. Forget complex investments for now. Forget exotic cryptos. Get your first $10,000 together. Whatever it takes. Liquid cash is the only thing that gives you the power to say no. No to an abusive boss. No to a toxic relationship. No to the despair of an unexpected crisis. $10,000 in the bank buys your dignity back. Step 4. Stop pretending. Kill the ego. The reason Gen X owes $150,000 is that they are trying to keep up the appearances of a middle class that no longer exists. The ego is the most expensive asset in the world. It charges the highest interest. Swallow your pride. Look poor. Be the guy who drives the old car, wears no brand clothes, and brings a lunchbox to work. Social comfort costs you your freedom. Would you rather look rich to your neighbor or be truly free? You aren't in a race against billionaires. You're in a fight for your own sovereignty. The window of opportunity is closing. The middle class is being hunted to extinction. You're going to have to choose a side of the wall. Are you going to be the normal poor person who complains about inflation and waits for the government to help? Or are you going to be the sovereign weirdo who builds wealth in the middle of chaos? The numbers don't lie. They show the probable future. And the probable future is ugly. But statistics are not destiny. They are just the pattern of the herd. Get out of the herd. Now. And if you're wondering, Buck, I get the urgency, but where do I start tomorrow morning? What is the first practical, tactical, real step? The motivation from this video will fade in 2 hours. Fear passes. Discipline is the only thing that stays. I created a tactical manual exactly for this. It's not boring economic theory. It's an order of battle for daily life. It's called the Order of the Day. 365 high-impact actions for your financial sovereignty. 1 mission per day. Simple, direct, brutal. To take you out of the statistics and put you in command of your destiny, the link is in the first pinned comment. Don't leave it for later. Later is too late. Stop being a statistic in a government report. Start being a legend in your own lineage. Keep your numbers clear and your soul free. I'm Buck. I'll see you in the trenches.